It was market day on the trade planet Hestia-9. The sun above was red and harsh, beating down on metal roofs and dusty roads. Ships came and went, merchants shouted, and strange smells filled the air. The spaceport was loud, colorful, and full of people from different worlds. Rich traders walked with guards. Robots pushed carts. Children laughed and ran. But in the middle of all that movement, one figure stayed still, a woman. She sat on her knees on the hard stone path, head down. Her clothes were torn. Her arms were thin, so thin you could see her bones. Her skin was a pale silver blue, covered in faint scars. Her eyes were dull and tired. Beside her, a young boy leaned against her. His ribs showed through his skin. His lips were dry and cracked. He didn't cry. He didn't move. He just looked at the food stalls with empty eyes. The woman raised her face and spoke, her voice shaking like dry leaves in the wind. "Take my life. Just feed my son." No one stopped. Some people looked for a second, then walked faster. A few whispered to each other and moved away. Others didn't even notice her. This was Hestia-9. Beggars were common. People were busy. But then one man stopped. He wasn't rich. He didn't wear fancy clothes. Just old boots, a dusty jacket, and a small backpack on his back. A faded metal badge was pinned to his chest. It looked like something from an old military group, maybe retired or forgotten. He looked at the woman quietly. Then he looked at the boy. He didn't say anything for a while. Finally, he asked, "What's your name?" The woman didn't reply. Her lips trembled. She looked up at him with wide eyes, half scared, half shocked that someone actually spoke to her. Instead of answering, she slowly reached out and placed her son's small hand in the man's hand. The man's hand was strong and rough. The boy's hand was weak and cold. The man felt something twist in his chest. This wasn't just hunger. This was desperation. This woman had given up her life. He looked around. People were still passing by. Some stared, wondering what he was doing. He didn't care. He knelt down in front of them. "My name's Rel," he said quietly. "Come with me." He helped the woman to her feet. She was so light, it felt like lifting a bag of feathers. She didn't resist. The boy tried to walk, but he stumbled. Rel carried him. They didn't speak. He took them down a quiet street, away from the market noise, past broken buildings and rusted signs. This part of the colony was old and nearly forgotten. Rel lived in a small metal shack, just one room, a table, and a broken light. It wasn't much, but it was safe. He made them sit on the floor. He opened a small box and pulled out 2 ration bars, his last 2. He had saved them for the week. He placed one in the boy's hand. The boy stared at it. Then, slowly, he began to eat. His eyes lit up with the first bite. He chewed fast, like he hadn't eaten in days. Rel gave the second bar to the woman. She shook her head. "For him," she whispered. Rel pushed it into her hand. "For both of you." She took a bite, then covered her mouth like she was afraid someone would take it away. The room was quiet. The only sound was chewing and Rel's small power fan humming. After a few minutes, the boy fell asleep on the floor, full and tired. His head rested on Rel's leg. Rel didn't move. He looked at the woman. "You from the outer rim?" She didn't answer. "Running from someone?" She nodded, barely. He didn't press more. Outside, the city lights began to flicker. Robots turned on night patrol. The markets shut down. Inside the small shack, something had changed. Rel didn't know what it was, but he felt it. He looked down at the sleeping boy, and then at the woman, who now sat quietly, watching him with tired but thankful eyes. In that moment, Rel made a silent choice. He didn't have much, but he had enough to protect one child, maybe even 2. He had once been a soldier. He had seen war. He had lost friends. He had watched people beg for help and been too late. This time, he wouldn't be too late. Morning came slow. A soft red glow slipped through the cracks of the metal shack's roof. The colony outside was still waking up, but inside, the air was already warm. Rel stood by a small stove, boiling water. The alien woman Aaron, though he still didn't know her name, sat in the corner, watching him with tired eyes. Her son was curled beside her, finally sleeping without pain. Rel broke a dry loaf in half and placed it next to a cup of warm broth. "Eat. You need strength," he said. The woman looked at the food, then at her boy. Her lips moved slightly. Maybe a prayer, maybe a silent thank you. She ate slowly this time, as if every bite mattered. They didn't speak much, words weren't needed yet. Later, Rel took them out, not far, just to the edge of the market district. He wanted to get more food, maybe a blanket. He had a few credits left from old work. They moved carefully. Erin kept her hood up. The boy walked close to her side, holding her hand tightly. As they passed a merchant stall selling dried meats and repair tools, an old trader recognized Rel. "Rel," the man said, frowning. "You're back." "Just passing through," Rel replied, looking at the shelves. The trader leaned closer. "Who's that with you?" "A mother. A boy, that's all." The man's eyes narrowed. "You shouldn't be with her." Rel froze. "What do you mean?" he asked. The trader looked around before whispering. "She's marked. I saw the symbol under her sleeve. Faint but real. You help her, you bring trouble." "What kind of trouble?" "People go missing around her kind," the trader said. "First, food stores vanish. Then workers disappear. Then, buildings burn." Rel kept his voice low. "You really believe that?" The trader shook his head slowly. "I don't know. But those who helped her, gone. Nobody knows where. Ask the East Zone. They'll tell you." Rel said nothing. He bought the food packets and turned to leave. But his thoughts were heavy. That night, they ate together. The boy smiled now. A small, quiet smile, but a smile. Rel placed a spare cloth on the floor for the boy to sleep on. The woman gently placed her hand on her son's head. Her touch was careful, full of love. Rel watched them, still thinking about what the trader had said. He finally asked, "Are people looking for you?" Erin didn't answer. So he asked again, softer. "Are you in danger?" She looked up slowly. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Yes." Rel leaned forward. "Tell me, what kind of danger?" She closed her eyes. "We escaped from a place, a lab, deep under the hills of Goron's Edge. They took many of us, tested us, broke us." She opened her sleeve slightly. Rel saw it. Then a mark, faint, burned into her skin. Not a tattoo, a brand. She continued. "They want the boy. His blood, his energy. I don't even know why, but I won't let them take him again." Rel's jaw tightened. He had seen this before. Not the mark, but the look in her eyes. "Survivors of war, of slavery, of pain," Erin whispered. "If they find us, they'll kill anyone near us. They won't stop." Rel looked at the boy, sleeping quietly on the floor. Then back at her. "I've fought men like that," Rel said, voice low. "I know how they think, how they move." She shook her head. "You don't understand. These aren't just men. They're made things. Metal and flesh. Creatures without mercy." That night, Rel didn't sleep. He sat with his old rifle in his lap. It hadn't been fired in years, but he kept it clean. For moments like this. At 3 a.m., the boy woke up crying, not loud but shaking, whispering something in a strange language. Erin rushed to him, held him close. Rel watched as blue light glowed faintly from the boy's chest, just under his skin. "What is that?" he asked. She didn't answer, but Rel saw it clearly. The boy wasn't just running from monsters. He was something they wanted. And whatever he was waking up. The power went out just after sunrise. The colony's lights blinked once, then died. No warning, no sound, just darkness and silence. Rel opened his eyes immediately. Years of soldier training made him alert to danger. He reached for his old rifle. The shack was quiet, too quiet. Then he heard it, a low hum, almost like a heartbeat, coming from the boy. Rel sat up. A soft glow came from under the boy's blanket. Blue light, pulsing. He turned to Erin. She was already awake, standing in the corner, watching him. She wasn't afraid. She looked calm, focused. "What's happening?" Rel asked. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked over to her son, knelt beside him, and placed her hand on his chest. The humming stopped. The light vanished. Then she looked at Rel. "It's starting," she said. "What is?" Erin stood and walked to the door. She pulled the metal curtain aside. Outside, The entire sector was dark. People were shouting. Lights flickered. Security drones hovered in confusion. She said quietly, "They know he's here now." Rel stood to. "Who?" She turned to him. "I'll tell you the truth now," she said. "But after this, you can choose to walk away." "I won't," Rel said quickly. "You should." He didn't reply. So she began, "My name is Aaron. I'm from a moon called Ceres. It was peaceful once, full of rivers and medicine forests. I was a healer. Our kind didn't fight wars. We believed in energy, in balance." She paused. Her eyes filled with memories. "But someone found us, humans, but not your kind. They wore flags I didn't recognize. They came in black ships. At first, they studied us, asked questions. Then they started taking people, one by one. Children first." Rel listened quietly. He had heard similar stories. Colonies wiped out, secrets hidden. They learned we could control energy. She said, "Not magic, not like stories. Just the body's power. My son was born with too much of it. That made him valuable." She touched her arm and showed him the mark again. "This was the price I paid to escape. But I didn't come out alone. I brought my son with me. He's the last of our bloodline." Rel looked at the boy, who was still sleeping, unaware of everything. "He's just a child." Rel said. "Yes," Aaron replied. "But to them, he's a weapon." Suddenly, there was a rell single quotes S body tensed. He grabbed his rifle and stepped to the door. Another knock. This time louder. Slower. He whispered, "Stay back." He opened the door a crack. A man stood there. But something was wrong. His eyes didn't blink. His skin was too smooth. And the badge on his coat. It wasn't from this colony. "Good morning," the man said. "We're looking for someone." "Who?" Rel asked, pretending to yawn. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "An alien woman and a boy. Dangerous fugitives. We have orders to retrieve them." Rel narrowed his eyes. "Never seen them." The man tilted his head. His voice became colder. "You sure? They were seen near this sector. Maybe they passed by. Maybe they're hiding in an old shack like this." Rel stepped out, closing the door behind him. "Search the next street," he said. "You won't find them here." The man stared at Rel's old badge. "You're ex-military," he said. "Long retired. You should stay out of this." "I'm just living quietly," Rel said. The man smiled again. "For now." Then he turned and walked away. Rel didn't breathe until the sound of boots faded. He went back inside. "They're not human," he said. Aaron nodded. "Half machine. The hunters. They'll come back stronger next time." Rel looked at her. "Then what do we do?" She placed her hand on his chest. "You saved us," she said. "Now I will protect you." Suddenly, a wave of heat passed through Rel's body, gentle, warm, like sunlight inside his bones. He blinked. "What was that?" She smiled softly. "A gift. I may not have weapons, but I can give you strength." That night, Rel cleaned his rifle and sharpened his old knife. He looked at the sleeping boy, now glowing faintly again, and he understood something. This wasn't just about helping strangers anymore. This was about standing between innocence and evil. A mother, a child, and a man with nothing to lose. War was coming, and Rel would be ready. The sky turned yellow before the trouble began. It wasn't sunset. It was something else. The air itself changed heavier, hotter. Animals in the colony's outer wall began to run. The birds vanished. Even the security drones flew lower, scanning the ground like they were confused. Inside the shack, Rel sat sharpening a small metal spike. Aaron stood at the window, her body still but her eyes alert. Her son slept quietly in a corner, but his skin was glowing again, slow and steady. "Something's coming," she said. Rel nodded. "I feel it too." A low hum started in the distance. Not from engines, not from machines, but from the sky. He stepped outside with his old rifle slung over his shoulder. A few neighbors were peeking out of their doors, whispering. Overhead, 3 dark shapes circled the colony, silent, smooth, black like oil against the yellow sky. Then they began to land, not near the government buildings, not by the port, but right at the edge of the slums near Rel's shack. The hunters had returned, only this time they weren't pretending to ask questions. They came in armor, Gray metal plates over cold white skin, eyes like blue glass. Their leader walked a head taller than the rest, with long black cables twisting from the back of its head like snakes. Rel stepped forward, slowly. Aaron joined him, her face hidden by a dark scarf. The lead hunter spoke in a deep, hollow voice. "You were warned, human. You were told to stay out of this." Rel said nothing. He simply loaded his rifle loud enough for all to hear. The hunter pointed at Aaron. "The boy must come with us. You have no right to protect stolen property." Rel's eyes burned. "He's not property. He's a child, a weapon," the hunter replied. Then everything moved fast. Aaron raised her hands and the air shimmered. The hunters fired, but the blasts hit an invisible wall. Energy bent and folded around her. Dust exploded into the sky. Rel ducked, rolled, and fired twice. The shots didn't kill, but they slowed the hunters down. The boy woke with a cry, clutching his head. His skin pulsed brighter than ever. The walls of the shack trembled. The hunters reached for the boy. Aaron screamed and, with one motion, threw a wave of raw force across the ground. It wasn't fire or wind. It was like light in solid form. It slammed into the hunter and sent him flying 10 feet into the wall. Rel stood between the others and the shack, breathing hard. One hunter got too close. Rel slammed the rifle, but into its jaw and kicked it back. He wasn't young anymore, but he fought like a man with nothing to lose. Inside, the boy began floating, just slightly, just off the floor. His eyes opened and they were no longer normal. They were glowing, white-blue, pure energy. The hunters stepped back. Even they were afraid now. The lead hunter growled, "The weapon is activating. We must contain it." But Aaron stepped in front of her son and raised both arms. "You will not touch him." The energy round her grew brighter and brighter until even Rel had to look away. Then a blast of pure power exploded from the shack. The ground cracked. Metal walls bent. The sky above them shifted colors, red to blue to white. When Rel opened his eyes, the hunters were gone, not dead, just gone. As if the very space around them had folded and swallowed them whole. The boy collapsed into his mother's arms. She held him tightly, tears running down her face. Rel stood in the dust, holding his broken rifle. Neighbors peeked out again, terrified, speechless. No one came closer. No one asked questions. Later that night, as silence fell over the wrecked area, Rel sat by the door, bandaging his arm. Aaron joined him. "I didn't want this," she said softly. "I believe you." Rel replied. "He's changing," she said. "It's starting to soon. His energy. It's no longer safe." Rel didn't look scared. He simply asked, "Can we train him?" Aaron paused. "Maybe, but not here." She looked out into the darkness. "They'll come again, with more, stronger ones." Rel nodded slowly. "Then we won't be here when they do." It rained the next morning. Not a normal rain. The sky above Hestia 9 cracked open with silver threads. Lightning fell like gentle ropes from the clouds, and instead of water, a soft mist floated down, warm, not cold. It was a rare kind of weather, the kind that made people stay inside. Rel stood outside his shack anyway. He wasn't watching the rain. He was watching the road, the path where the hunters had come, and where they would return. Behind him, the boy was drawing strange shapes on the floor with his finger. Glowing trails followed his movements. The marks faded after a few seconds, like the air itself didn't want to remember them. Aaron sat by the wall, silent, holding a broken bracelet in her hands. It was small, handmade, maybe from her home, maybe from her past life. Rel didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, he spoke. "I should have left years ago. Gone off-world, started somewhere else, but I stayed. Now I understand why." Aaron looked up. "You stayed for this?" "No," Rel said. "I stayed because I was tired. But now, I have a reason to move again." She said nothing, but something shifted in her eyes. A quiet respect. That evening, Rel took the boy outside, just to the field behind the shack. The grass was tall, golden in color, and soft underfoot. He knelt in front of the boy. "Do you know why I'm teaching you this?" he asked. The boy looked at him, confused. Rel placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Because when I was a soldier, someone once taught me how to survive, how to run, how to protect those who couldn't fight, and now I'm passing it to you." The boy nodded. Slowly, Aurel smiled. "First lesson, if your heart races, slow your breath. Count in fours. Watch everything, listen more than you speak. Stay low, move fast." The boy mimicked him, lying flat on the ground, eyes scanning the bushes. Erin watched from a distance, her eyes softened. But even then, she knew this peace wouldn't last. That night, she sat beside Rel. "You didn't have to help." "US," she said. "Why did you?" Rel stared into the small campfire. "When I was your son's age." He said, "My town was attacked. Pirates, raiders, whatever they were, they took everything. My family died. I hid in a trash unit for 2 days." Erin didn't blink. "But then someone found me. A woman, a soldier. She gave me food, then a home. She didn't know me, but she saved me." He turned to look at Erin. "I guess I'm just returning the favor." She was quiet for a moment. Then she placed something in his hand. It was a small crystal, faintly glowing blue, warm to the touch. "What is this?" Rel asked. "A memory stone," she whispered. "It holds a part of my family's history. All our knowledge, all our failures. It was meant for our next leader. But now it belongs to you." Rel shook his head. "I'm no leader." She smiled. "You're more than you know." Suddenly distant explosions echoed in the hills. Boom, boom, boom. Then silence. Rel stood up. "It's begun," Erin said. Rel looked at the boy, still asleep. Glowing lightly, he felt something deep inside him shift. He had no rank, no army, no backup. But in this broken world, on a half-forgotten planet, one man had made a choice to protect what the galaxy had abandoned, and that choice would shake the stars. The first explosion shook the floor beneath Rel's feet. The second one broke the sky. He rushed outside. The stars above were gone, replaced by massive black ships, their hulls glowing red with heat, cutting through the clouds like blades. The colony alarms didn't go off. They never had the chance. One of the ships dropped a pod. It landed hard near the old water tower. Dirt flew, walls cracked. A hole opened in the sky, and out of it came 10 hunters, walking calmly through the smoke. Each one wore new armor, thicker, faster, deadlier. This time, they weren't here to search. They were here to take. Rel ran back into the shack. "There." "Here," he said. Erin didn't panic. She stood already, cloak off, her eyes bright. "They'll break the walls this time," she said. "They're not playing anymore." She looked at her son, asleep again, floating just inches off the ground. The air around him sparkled like a field of stars. His skin glowed blue-white, brighter than ever before. "He's nearing phase 3, she whispered. "I can't hold him back much longer." Rel strapped on his belt, knife, pistol, rifle, a small energy bomb, one he had never used. "You stay with him," he told Erin. "Whatever happens, keep him safe." She stepped in front of Rel and pressed her forehead gently against his. "Don't die." He smiled faintly, wasn't planning to. Outside, the first hunter had already cut through the neighbors' door. Screams followed. Rel moved fast, shadows and fire behind him. He knew the alleyways. He knew where to set traps. He had placed signal flashers in the old storage units last night. Now, one by one, they exploded, bursts of light and sound that confused the machines. Rel shot down using angles they didn't expect, but there were too many. One leaped at him fast, like lightning. Rel barely rolled aside. His shoulder hit a pipe. Pain flashed. He turned and stabbed the spike straight into the hunter's chest. Sparks flew. The hunter screamed like metal breaking. It fell. Rel stood up, blood running down his arm. He wasn't winning, just slowing them down. Inside the shack, Erin knelt beside her son. He was awake now, eyes glowing, tears on his cheeks. "Am I the reason this is happening?" he asked. "No," she said firmly. "You are the reason they will fail." She placed both hands on his chest. Energy poured from her arms into him, soft at first, then heavy like wind pressing on steel. He gasped, not in pain, but in power. "I don't want to hurt anyone," he whispered. "You won't," she said. "You'll protect them, like he protected us." Rel limped back into the street. Smoke everywhere. Fires rising. 3 hunters circled him now. He had 1 shot left. Then the wind changed. The air grew warm. Soft light fell from the sky, not from the sun, but from behind him. He turned and saw the boy floating above the roof. Eyes white as lightning, hands stretched wide, hair floating like it was underwater. Rel stared in disbelief. The boy whispered something in his language, and the hunters stopped, like time had paused. Then their bodies shattered, piece by piece, their armor cracking, falling apart like sand. In the wind, the boy slowly floated down and dropped to his knees. Rel rushed to him, catching him before he fell. "You did it," Rel said softly. The boy smiled weakly. "She helped me." Aaron appeared beside them, tired but proud. "She gave him balance," Rel said. "No," she whispered. "You gave him the reason." Suddenly, the biggest ship above began to shift, engines roaring. A beam charged underneath it, aimed at the colony. Rel stood tall. "They're going to burn everything," he said. "We have 1 chance." Aaron said that she took the memory stone from her cloak and placed it in the boy's hand. "Focus," she told her son. "Use it, not as a weapon but as a shield." The boy closed his eyes. Light exploded from his chest, bright, clean, endless. It reached the sky in seconds. The beam from the ship hit it and shattered. A sound like breaking glass rang through the heavens. The ship cracked, then, in silence, fell into the mountains. Not 1 life lost in the colony. It was over. The dust settled slowly, no cheers, just silence. Then people came out. Children, elders, families. They saw the boy, the woman, the human. And for the first time, they didn't see aliens or danger. They saw hope. Aaron walked beside Rel and whispered, "You stood when no one else would." They saw that. He looked around. "No," he said. "They saw you." The battlefield was quiet, not with fear, not with silence, but with peace. Ash floated gently from the sky, soft flakes that glowed in the moonlight, like tiny falling stars. The wreckage of the fallen ship still smoked in the distant hills, but the colony below stood untouched. Rel sat on the edge of the broken roof, looking out over what was once just a slum. Now it felt like the center of something new. Behind him, the boy was playing. Yes, playing. For the first time since Rel had met him, he laughed. It was a light sound, full of life. He ran in circles through the dusty yard, chasing after tiny blue bugs that glowed when they jumped. His glowing skin was fading now, still special, but calmer. Balanced. Aaron stepped up beside Rel and handed him a warm drink made from boiled root leaves. "Simple, but good." "You look tired," she said. "I feel alive," he answered. She smiled. "That's rare, after a war." He looked at her. "This wasn't a war," he said. "It was a beginning." The colony had changed. At first, people had been afraid. They had stayed inside, locked their doors, whispered. But over the next few days, they began to return. First, 1 child came to bring food. Then a woman came to ask if the boy was okay. Then came the workers with tools and wood and began rebuilding the shack. But they didn't call it a shack anymore. They called it a home. The mayor of the colony, once silent, visited personally. He stood with Rel nervously. "You saved everyone," the mayor said. I didn't help you when you needed it." Rel said nothing. The mayor swallowed. "But I want to now." He held out a small, silver tablet. "This is land. It's yours. And if the boy wants to stay, we'll make sure he's protected." Aaron stepped forward, her voice calm, but strong. "We don't want protection anymore. We want community." And, for the first time, the mayor nodded in agreement. "We want that too." Later, the boy sat with Rel under a rebuilt canopy of vines and lights. "Can I ask something?" the boy said. "Of course," Rel replied. "Were you afraid when they came?" Rel took a long breath. "Yes, every moment." "Then, why did you fight?" Rel smiled. "Because when someone smaller than you is about to be crushed, standing up is the only thing that makes you human." The boy thought about that for a long time, then said softly, "I want to be human too." Rel laughed. "You already are." Weeks passed. A school was built, not just for humans. Aaron began teaching healing, how to feel the earth, how to move energy, how to use your hands and heart together. Children listened with wide eyes. Even the older ones, even the adults, came. To sit in the back, the boy didn't need to run anymore. Now, others ran to him. They didn't see a weapon. They saw a future. One night, as the three of them sat together on the roof, Aaron, her son, and Rel, the stars above shine clearer than ever. There are still others out there, Aaron said. Hunted, hiding, like we were. Rel looked up. Then maybe we help them, one by one. She nodded. Her son leaned against her shoulder. Can we make a family? He asked. A real one. Rel smiled at him. We already did. They called it the House of the Last Light, a small home that grew into a sanctuary, where no one went hungry. Where no one was left behind. Where a woman who once begged for food now taught peace, and where a soldier who thought his life was over became the reason others began again.